While this is good for some, it's bad for others. I'm talking about FHA foreclosures. These are HUD properties, Housing and Urban Development. And Housing and Urban Development run FHA, the Federal Housing Administration. Now, when I say it's bad for some, unfortunately, if you don't pay, you don't stay, but it's good for others. And that is, if you want to get a pretty good deal on a piece of property, you can buy a home like this. Now, this home, I'll walk you through and around it. It's 2,400 square feet, 4 bedrooms, 2 full baths, 2,400 square feet. If you were to build this house, it would cost you well in excess of $400,000, even down here in southern Louisiana. Not to mention if you're up north or the Northeast or out west in California. My name is Wayne Turner. For nearly 30 years, I've done just about everything when it comes to real estate, and I only share that with you so you can have the confidence knowing that what you'll learn from me is from tried and true, boots on the ground experience. So let's jump in. Now, it's critical to know that these homes are in distressed condition. Every once in a while, you'll find one that's nice. And to see these properties, it's quite simple. I'll put a link below. You go to HUDhomestore.gov. And you have to know that these properties come on the market and go off the market all the time. But you do have to have a real estate agent representing you to be able to purchase one of these properties. They have an NAID number, and that's through the Department of Housing and Urban Development. But these homes, like this one I'm going to walk you through, it's in rough shape. But the price on this one is $289,000. 12 years ago, when this home was purchased, it sold for $330,000. Now, don't get me wrong, you've got to do your home inspection. That doesn't mean they're going to fix anything on these properties, but at least you'll know going in, if you want to proceed with the closing to take ownership of the home, you've got a list of stuff that needs to be fixed. Now look, there's more to it than just doing a home inspection. You also have to look at what's the cost of the roof, what's the cost of painting, flooring, carpeting. A lot of stuff you can live with, a lot of stuff you can do yourself, but you have to understand if you have to replace a roof on a 2,400 square foot house, it's probably going to cost you upwards of $20,000. If you have to replace a central heat and air unit, a home like this has 2 central heat and air units, and with 2 central heat and air units, they're going to cost you anywhere from $7,000 to $9,000 a piece. So you have to take all of those things into account. But even just simple things of improving the property, you also have to be aware of the surroundings and the land on the property. You see, so oftentimes people buy a piece of property and they look at it and they think, well, that property ends and it starts over there. There's a home over here and there's a garage over here. This is something that you have to understand. When properties are developed and they're built, there's a survey done on that property. However, when you take a home that was built 40, 50 years ago, there could be some encroachments, there could be servitudes, there could be easements on the property, and you just want to know that going in. Now, I always advise, when in doubt, get a survey on the property. But if you're going to get a survey on your property, you want to make sure you tell the surveyor, hey, I not only want it staked, I want a topography of the land, I want to know the flood zone, I want to know if there's any easements, encroachments, servitudes, all of that on the property. Now, it may cost you a little bit of money up front. A situation like this where you got 1.5 acres, close to 2 acres of land, but it's pretty clear, it may run you in the neighborhood of $1,500 to $2,000, but that will be money well spent. The last thing you want to do is buy a piece of property and only find out that someone's built a garage on your property. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not the end of the world, but you want to know if there's a structure on your property. In this instance, this garage actually goes with the sale of this property, but oftentimes there'll be a structure built and people quite simply don't know. It's done oftentimes by accident over the decades, but at least having that survey, you'll know, and you can address it with the seller. In a case when it's a HUD foreclosure, you just have to live with it or ask that buyer to move their structure. Now, it's really hard when it's a permanent structure on a permanent foundation. In a situation like that, you can simply grant them an easement, and you can actually ask them to pay you for that portion of the property that they're encroaching upon. However, there's a little more to it than that. You see, if they don't want to purchase the property from you or give you money for the land that they are encroaching upon, they don't have to. You have to take them to court and you have to prove that your land. It's going to take you court costs, it's going to take you attorney fees. That may not be something that you just want to jump into. However, there is something in a way that which you could find out more about a property, and it's quite simply talking to the neighbors. There's nothing wrong with getting out and talking to the neighbors. It doesn't matter if you're buying a piece of property, a piece of land, the house, 10 acres, or just a residential neighborhood. There's nothing wrong with that. And you want to ask them questions like, would you live here again? What brought you to the neighborhood? What do you like most about the neighborhood? And if there's anything that you could change in the neighborhood, what would you change? Now, the benefit to buying a HUD property is they've already done their research and made sure there's no back taxes, liens, encumbrances, mechanical liens, or anything like that on the property. However, you do not want to make the mistake of buying a property, taking ownership, and not getting a title policy on the property. Even though they say, hey, it's clear, it's fine, you still just never know, because there may be a small window there where there was work done on that property and there was no lien placed on it, and then they placed a lien on it, or Lord forbid they come knocking at your door. Now, I don't sell title policies, but I tell you, 30 years in this real estate business, I personally would not own any home without a title policy. Now, I want you to take a look on the inside of this house so you can see the condition, but you also have to know, when you're walking around, you hear me rustling all these leaves. There's trees everywhere. So if you buy a house, any house, doesn't matter if it's a HUD house or not, you're getting all these trees. Now, to take out these trees, it can cost you anywhere from $700, $800 to $1,000, $1,500 a piece. Some people like the trees, some people don't like the trees. It's all a personal opinion, but you have to know that going in when you budget for things like, oh, I'm just gonna take out this tree, I'm gonna take out that tree, and that can get really expensive. Now, if you're still with me, thank you. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Let's take a look on the inside. Now, call me old-fashioned, but there's a lot of features on the outside and the inside as we walk through the house that I just absolutely love. One is a huge, big front porch, wraparound front porch. I mean, that's just absolutely gorgeous, and to me, it's kind of timeless. Now, as we walk through, I'm going to share with you a couple of things that I like that are great for resale, you'll really enjoy in the home, and then also some things you want to look out for that can be some underlying hidden costs. Now, when you look at this house, you can tell that it's got blue walls. It's got carpet that needs to be replacing, floor that needs to be replacing. It's like stepping back in time. That wallpaper was popular back in the early 80s. I remember that as a kid, and I'm 52. Big rooms, and one of my favorite features is a huge big open den. Now, when you have a big open den with a wood burning fireplace, it's just very inviting, it's cozy, and it also has a beautiful cathedral ceiling. The kitchen, which is nice, which is kind of before its time, is open to all of this big den living area. However, if you wanted to extend that kitchen, you could. You can see there that you could easily bring that kitchen out if you wanted to gut that kitchen, or if you just wanted to leave it like it is, replace the cabinets and just put kind of a counter-levered countertop on that, you could. Now, you have to know this, whenever you're buying a property like this one or any property, you have to know what are the condition of the windows. You can tell the windows in this property, they're very old and they need to be replaced. They're workable, they're habitable, but that right there is a double pane window, but it's in really rough shape. And a window in a house can run you anywhere from $300 to $500 to replace each window. The other thing you want to do is make sure that the home inspector crawls around every square inch under the home, and they make sure that there's no moisture damage or termite damage, because that can really get up there in cost. Now, when you're buying any property, besides the windows and the wood rot and the roof and all of that, after you've added everything up and you've estimated it, it's so important to add 15% to that, because rest assured, every single time, I can just tell you from experience, just when you think you've got the number nailed down, it's going to cost you more money. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not the end of the world. As long as you know it going in and you budget for it, then you're going to be fine. You also have to know that buying a house like this, you can't get an FHA, you can't get a VA, can't get a USDA loan. You can get a conventional loan. You can also get a hard money loan from a private lender. You can also use your cash. By using your cash, you can purchase a property like this. You can make improvements to it. After you make improvements to it, now you have a very valuable asset that's improved, and you can go to a mortgage company or a bank and they will loan you 80 to 90% of the improved value of the property. But just know this, when you're going to make an offer on these properties, more than likely someone else has looked at it maybe the day before, or perhaps 2 to 3 hours before you did. So if you find something that you really like, nail down the offer, because you always have your due diligence period of 10 to 14 days. And after you make the offer and you get it accepted, you have 10 to 14 days, and if you don't like what you see after the inspections, you simply get your deposit back and you can move on about your business and go find another property. I'm Wayne Turner. Thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. I promise you, you'll learn something on every episode. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Until next time, God bless.